If you're a hockey fan, you probably have jerseys. And if you're a jersey fan, you probably have a lot of jerseys. For some of us, it's a lifestyle. It's $250 because the reverse retro is on sale. Everyone has a story with their jersey. We want to hear all of them. Every day is a jersey day, but today is Jersey Thursday. I love that setup. Bobbleheads and the Doan jersey.
And anything back here that this my dad brought throughout travels, and then of course the Valley because the Suns went to the finals and killed me.
Fuck, man. You still got the run at least. But yeah.
I'll hold on to the memories. For once, an Arizona team wasn't a complete dumpster fire. But like we were 2 wins away. I could taste it. Like I could legit taste that championship, and then it's ripped.
Yeah. Jeez, but like when you come that close, that is like it's like the fun of the run. That's part of it. I mean, like I'm in Toronto. I'm Raptors fan, so I know the feeling of the run, but from the other way, from the other perspective. But yeah,
I mean, I'm glad you at least got that championship because I'd rather have Toronto win than Golden State yet again. They had their dynasty. Let someone else win.
Oh, that would have been terrible.
Completely agree.
Absolutely terrible. Like, I mean, the one thing I'll give the NHL, I guess, up till this last year is the level of parity that there's sort of been. But I mean, this is also the league that had the Blackhawks winning. I mean, the Blackhawks are the Blackhawks winning 3 in a row. Well, not 3 in a row, 3 in a decade. And the LA Kings winning a couple. So like there is still not a lot of parity, but like it's not NBA level.
Well, you're not having multiple dynasties going from the Lakers dynasty to the Heat almost dynasty, then to the Golden State dynasty. At least you're not seeing that.
Yeah. How many jerseys do you have?
Do you want me to actually count or to spitball? Because it should be around 60.
You can spitball. Oh, wow.
It should be around 60.
Okay.
It's grown quite a bit since I started doing YouTube.
There's no complaints here at all. Like none at all. I always like starting the episodes with where we're talking about what jersey we're wearing and why. I can start off by saying, I mean, you can see the number on my jersey, that it's a bit bittersweet because my guy Philip Grew is gone, and I was kind of bummed when I woke up from a nap yesterday to find out. I mean, yesterday as of the day this was recorded. But when I woke up from a nap to find out he had gone to Seattle. So I'm wearing this in a bittersweet move, but we also got your guy, Darcy Kuemper.
So long as he can stay healthy, you're getting a fantastic goaltender. If he can stay healthy, you're getting a fantastic goaltender.
Yeah. Who do you got? Because I can't see a number.
I'll try to flash a bit of the number.
Yeah.
So it's Derek Stepan. And
Lovely.
I hate Derek Stepan because I think he was such a mediocre waste in Arizona, obviously in New York, phenomenal player. But I got this in the team store. It was the last one they had left on sale. It was $100, and I was like, you're not going to walk into a team store and find a named jersey for $100. It's a small, but Fanatics are stretchy, so it'll fit around me. So I'm like, all right, I'll get it, yeah. And now I got a story for it.
Like it's always like if you see stuff on sale, you always go for it, and like it doesn't matter what the player. I mean, like Derek Stepan is Derek Stepan, but even like with how he did in Arizona, that's still like you got to get a jersey that's customized and on sale.
Yeah. I mean, it's. Oh, how did I just forget what I was going to say? I actually had a decent thing. I apologize. I apologize.
You'll come to it.
I will come to it, but most of my jerseys are because I see them on sale, and the back of my mind, I'm like, jerseys are expensive. Obviously, to the consumer, a stupid reason, licensing, but to the people that license up their logos, it's obviously a great reason for them. But when you get those on sale, you get them for like 40, 50, $60. If you have the disposable, throw it in there. You never know when you need a third John Tavares New York Islanders jersey.
Or what I love, this is the perfect time of year to get random stuff on sale. Like I might even check out to see what Kuemper jerseys, like Darcy Kuemper Kachina jersey would be ideal. I would love that. And I'm sure there's a ton from like Coyotes. There's probably a few Coyotes fans that are just like dumping all their stuff, but I would love one of those. Actually,
that gets into a nice little story. If you don't mind, I can grab a couple, and you just got me on one. So
okay, do it. That's what we're here for.
Back. This is right. So I hate them now because of what they did to Flower, but right around when a lot of the drama with Shane Doan allegedly not being offered a new contract, there's a lot going on with the Coyotes, so it kind of rubbed me the wrong way. So I was kind of in limbo. I still followed them, but I wasn't going to games more than once a year. I wasn't watching every single game or anything. But I went to Vegas in 2018, and that seeing how that city embraced that team, how Glendale had never done that for the Coyotes, I'm like, they got that spark going again. And I ended up, both of these were under $60. Real Adidas, from what I can tell. I got 2 Golden Knights jerseys because people were just trying to get rid of them. It's David Perron and James Neal.
I knew one of them was going to be James Neal. I knew it.
So like, it's funny. I'm just going to say the Neal was first. I forget which, but they're, like I said, both under $60. I got one. I'm like, but I don't want to wear it out. I'm one of those weirdos that I have to have more than one jersey for a team because it has to stay in perfect condition. So I got Perron, so I had a jersey to wear. Wow. I've never wore these out. I just have them sitting in the collection. Oh,
jeez. But it's an awkward – I mean, like, it's less awkward because now you guys aren't in the same division like you were for the last, 4 seasons.
Yeah, unfortunately, even though the Coyotes, they did muster victories against Vegas. Vegas usually would dominate Arizona, so they tried to hype up that desert rivalry that just never sparked. And then San Jose and Vegas started beefing worse than the Coyotes and the Kings. It's just weird.
Yeah. Well, I mean, everyone kind of, beat Arizona. I couldn't resist that. I couldn't resist.
You're not wrong. I can't be mad. I can be sad, but I can't be mad.
Yeah, you guys are. I'm gonna throw out the obligatory, you guys you're getting there. You have a few good guys. You'll get there. Jeez.
As soon as Connor Garland left, I thought I would be fine with it. I thought I would be okay. Every single day that's passed, including when he signed his contract, I've just been getting more and more depressed because of the guys not named Shane Doan, Zbigniew McCulloch, and Radim Vrbata. Connor Garland is my favorite Coyote of all time. So that just hurts.
And it was the same because I know Ekman Larsson for you guys the last few years, with the contract, but he was also huge for you guys. So that must have been a crazy ass day, that you lose Ekman Larsson, which you were expecting eventually, but then Connor Garland.
That one hurt. I mean, we got more value. At least we ended up getting Gunther. It's essentially, if you look at offensive production, Gunther probably replaces Garland's production, and Josh Doan probably replaces Garland's play style, but doesn't make it hurt any less. It honestly doesn't. Man. I was watching him in Tucson. My first year covering the Coyotes at 18, 19. I was watching him in Tucson. I'm like, he's going to be good. This guy's going to be good. Oh, he's undersized. He's not going to be anything. Comes up, and there you go. I'm like, at least I get to feel like I was proven right, but it still hurts.
Man. And then you watch him develop on another team, which is the most crushing part. It's like you guys did all the work in developing him, then now he's going to be on Vancouver doing what you set up or what the Coyotes set up.
Hopefully he's a 30-goal scorer. I want to see him and Bo Scorvat light it up because Garland deserves all the recognition. He just wasn't going to get in Arizona, honestly.
Man, I always hate that. Like when you have players who would otherwise be like either household names or they would be like huge if they played in a bigger market. Like
I think the only oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was going to say the Sergei Zubov problem because that was his whole like deal.
You can also argue similar to like Mikhail Bodker. Oh, if he just had a number one center. But I think if Shane Doan wasn't as fiercely loyal as he was to the Coyotes, I think if he would have ended up going somewhere else, he would have ended up probably going down on the depth chart. Still a very good player, but he wouldn't have had the pedigree that everyone thinks of when you think of Shane Doan now. I think that was one of the only times where staying in the small market actually benefited somebody.
Oh, yeah. And then also being the captain and playing for one team. Like, where he had the very good career, but then those kind of like parts helped, like longevity, playing with one team, captain, all that. Ish.
Yeah.
Ish.
If we're talking about Shane Doan, I do got a couple of Doan jerseys, not just that one. I got that because obviously I didn't have very much money, and I started covering the team. I needed a Doan jersey, and it was on sale. It's a women's jersey, but back then I was skinny enough to still fit into it. Got that. Then whenever they retired his number, I stopped wearing that, so I'll never wear that again. But, and if you'll allow me to step over again, I have since got two more Doan jerseys that both also have stories to them.
Okay. I'm intrigued.
All right, so first one, go ahead and throw that over there. First one is the one that they wore when I was growing up watching this team, and I sold my PS5 to fund this because I don't really play it. I play mostly on PC and Xbox, but I saw that it was like $55 on eBay. It was a mission. I was not going to get this because it has the old school Phoenix patch. I understand the AZ patch also looks nice, but just this is classic. This is what I grew up with. And the C, the numbers, the name, all the logo is a little iffy condition. I don't know why I was going with ishy, but it's a little iffy condition, but you can't find these anymore. And that's the one thing, I guess, if I had a moral, is if there's a jersey you love and you can afford it, obviously don't mortgage your house or sell your car or anything, but if you can afford it, grab it while it's available because they switched away from this. And then they changed jersey manufacturers. Now it's Adidas. They're not making these. So they go up in value. You only find them for bargains or deals relatively, seldomly. So jump on them when you can, if you can't afford them, because I waited like 2+ years for this and I was not going to not get it when I had my chance.
Yeah. And that was like your best season in those. Like that was the conference final season.
Well, the only thing that, obviously everyone hated the Kachina when it first came out. I was a fan of it, but I was a very little kid. And when they were looking for the Flying Fox, I hope you know what I'm referring to. Yeah. Because they were in these, the Flying Fox. I was like, why don't you bring back the Kachina? Have that be your third jersey. It's a little bit of nostalgia, keep your history. And the amount of, that's the ugliest thing ever. They'll never bring that back, that I heard. And then now they're going back to it full time. And those same people are like, oh, it's the greatest thing ever. It made me get tired of seeing the Kachina for a little bit. Still a phenomenal logo. But when you have everyone saying it's trash and now it's Jesus,
it's nostalgia. It's like this weird, like it's like the Wild Wing jersey where it got trashed when it came out, and then now everyone is like saying, "Oh, it's so cool," and like even the Mighty Ducks, like everyone is going on about how cool it is, and people mock the shit out of it.
I remember the first thing you cut, like when you're watching the original Space Jam, was like, oh, what kind of Mickey Mouse organization names their team the Ducks? Everyone was making fun of the Mighty Ducks back then, unless you were a kid and you were like me and you were loving the Mighty Ducks movies. But if you were an adult, you're like, what is this?
Man, you can even like throw Space Jam into that too, because like when it came out, it was like all the kids, like I didn't see it till I was like a teenager, but all the kids loved it, and then you see all the adults were giving it like these terrible reviews, calling it like gimmicky and garbage, and then now there's like a sequel. which is the same thing.
Look, nostalgia is powerful. Look,
Mhm.
you see it with video games all the time. I remember when I could go into a used game store and get Metroid Prime on the GameCube for $5. Great condition,
Shit.
and now it's like 40. Now it's like 50.
Man.
And that's like if it's in bad condition. So like, yeah, nostalgia is a very, very powerful thing. On top of that, like the Reeboks, when they went out, I actually managed to get I think an away jersey for like $50. Cool, sure, whatever. Now the Reeboks are starting to creep back up a little bit, and you're seeing a lot more Adidas on sale, especially from like the first year, because a lot of teams have also changed their designs again or introduced another new jersey since then. So it's like the never-ending cycle continues to make certain jerseys cheap. You grab them while they're cheap because they're not going to be cheap for long.
Yeah. Man, but I do like the Kachina the most out of the Coyotes jerseys, probably the away one more than the home. But I do love how they managed to kind of make their own unique look with that like era.
The main reason I love the Howling Coyote is because I became a Coyotes fan in 06, 07, their Decade in the Desert year. That was what I grew up with. And obviously, I try to put as much red as possible. Red is my favorite color. I get blue because Sonic the Hedgehog, not because of these stupid LA Dodgers. But, I love that logo. I associate it with the best times and the most painful times, the 09 bankruptcy. But going to the conference finals, I think the most like important moment, it had to be the 2010 playoffs. I had this opening video, and I reference it all the time. I have it saved on the hard drive on this computer. I will never let that die. Where it showed all the headlines, like the filing for bankruptcy. Oh, is it gonna mess with the team's success? Is it gonna be a distraction? Camp starts with this looming over, and then it just shows a timeline of them having their best season in franchise history. You look around, and they're playing. I think the song is called "Alley in the Jungle," but everyone's like they have these white pom poms. They're shaking into the air along to the beat, and it was just the best moment. Like it is still the best thing I've ever seen in my life, and I'm like, if I could go back to any moment, that's the moment. Like,
yeah.
Oh, I love that so much. But I'm getting distracted.
No, man. I'm curious, like, what was it like? Because I always hate when people, especially like I'm up near Toronto, and you have so many of these like delusional, like pro-Canadian fans that are like, oh, the game belongs in Canada, like move all the teams to Saskatchewan and stuff. And they always like don't think of what the local fans go through when they lose a team.
And
I can't even imagine like what was going on in that time.
Sorry.
It's all good. It's all good.
I just go. But the thing is, you would think that they would understand that hurt because Quebec, because Winnipeg. They didn't leave. Quebec did not leave because of bad attendance or the team not being supported. They left because, well, you can call it political if you want, but just the American dollar versus Canadian dollar thing. That's why that happened. It had nothing to do with the support. So, like, you would think them of all people would get it. And especially like when, Atlanta had a very strong fan base. They just had really bad management and ownership. And it's like, oh yeah, we'll take them. Or whenever the Coyotes filed for bankruptcy, the guy that owned BlackBerry wanted to move him to, I think, Hamilton. They had like a logo, like the Bulldogs or something picked out. And I'm
Tigers.
Like, yeah, oh my God. And they did it to the Islanders, and they were going through troubles. Florida all the time. I'm personally of the mind, I don't understand why Florida has two teams. I keep a team in the market because that market deserves hockey. Every market does to me, but some markets having multiple teams will always confuse me. But you would think they'd understand how that feels to have this team that it's a passion. Like I've said it before, if it wasn't for this team, if it wasn't for that 2018 Vegas trip that got me back into hockey, I wouldn't have all this I've worked towards. I wouldn't have met my wife. Like hockey, I understand it seems insignificant, but it can change a lot of people's lives. And that it's so important to me. So like, I don't understand how someone that went through a team being ripped away would support another team being ripped away. Like I'll never understand that mindset.
Man, that's honestly, that's pretty awesome. Like, wait, did you meet your wife in Vegas?
No, so it was around late 2019. I was in a group chat. It's like, oh, one fan for every team. And because she lives in Arizona, she was thrown in there for the Coyotes, but she also likes the Penguins, the Avalanche, and the Golden Knights for different reasons. Her parents are one of each, and then Vegas because she got to pick her own team. Sure. And when I got in, obviously I'm I'd consider myself pretty knowledgeable on the Coyotes. So I was like, oh, he's replacing you for the Coyotes. And then we just kind of ended up talking back and forth here and there. And then one day we just hung out at a preseason hockey game because I had an extra ticket, and it just the rest is history.
Shit. And I love like that only comes from being a hockey fan and being a part of the community. And that's what's crazy about it. And so many people, they miss that when they're saying like, oh, like no one cares about hockey in Arizona. The world revolves around Toronto and all that shit.
I think what a lot of fan bases and markets don't understand, and it's something that I genuinely support, it's the mindset that you should earn the financial support. Like, I'm not talking about the teams going through a rebuild don't go, because obviously you're building. You go because, hey, Clayton Keller's developing, or when Max Domi was here, any era, Peter Mueller, whatever, you go because, hey, they have interesting young talent. They're building towards something. What I don't like is after 2012, they should have re-signed Whitney. He wanted, I think, the one extra year. They wanted 2 years. Bring him back. I'm not saying they guarantee win a cup. What I'm saying is they could have made another run, but they kept, because that management group did not have the money they said they had, so they just kept trying to cost cut, but make you think they're trying to compete, and that rubbed me the wrong way. That killed a decent amount of my love for the game, because I'm like, we went through all this drama. We built a competitive team. Yes, there are some pieces that are aging. You can replace those with younger talent and still be good. You don't need to just trash everything to rebuild. Obviously, some teams do. The current Coyotes weren't going to go anywhere without a full rebuild. It can be argued. I'd argue a little more either way, but it depends on how you look at it. But if you're going to put a bad product because you don't want to have a good product on the ice, I'm 100% behind people not showing up. But people don't understand that Arizona, it's like Vegas in a way, except for Vegas has always had a winning team. We'll see when they do eventually start losing, every team does, is a lot of transplants. There's a lot of Steelers fans here. There's a lot of Penguins fans. There's a lot of Islanders fans for whatever reason. Long Island has a lot of representation here. They show up, they're Coyotes fans until their teams come in. But a lot of the times you're getting your main money from that. And the Valley itself, as we saw with the Suns, they will rally for you if you give them a reason to. But if you're just going to put a bad product on the ice with no real plan, no rhyme or reason, we're the kind of market where we're just like, no thanks.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I do think that people do see, like with the Panthers and like with the Coyotes in 2012, where like you guys showed up in droves. And I remember that. Like they were showing the whiteout, which Winnipeg brought back too. Is that ever awkward? Because like when you were getting to the game and the Coyotes were doing the whiteout, and then when you kind of like, when did you figure out that like, oh shit, this isn't, I mean, it's an awkward area because it's, you guys are the continuation of the Jets, but it's also like, it's that weird area, like Cleveland Browns, Colts area, not Colts, Ravens.
I think, I also think the hockey guy mentioned that Winnipeg bought their history back, whatever that means. So I think that means that their records
go back. They bought the
back.
rights, yeah.
Yeah, they bought the rights. But it's funny because obviously I was kind of introduced because of NHL 06 and NHL Hits 2003 on the GameCube. So you had the retro jerseys. My dad was like, yeah, they came from Winnipeg. I need to be very careful to not sound too arrogant right now, but like I knew a pretty decent amount, as I was getting into it. I fixate on things, I guess. Sure, the best way to say it. So I knew they came from Winnipeg, and I had this old school like whiteout. It was a really beat up like a Kachina hat, so it had like everything was white in it. And I'm like, are we going to bring that back when we make the playoffs? Because, around 2009, they're building towards something. I'm like, are they going to bring that back? Could you do something else? I thought now Sandstorm would be pretty cool. But back then I was like, oh, have like a cactus patch. Have people wearing green. Bring back the peyote. Because I love that jersey, unironically. And then I also, because I was a kid and I was edgy, I'm like, oh, everyone wears red, right? Make it a bloodbath. Oh, it's a big dangerous place. Jobbing.com arena for the opposing team.
Oh, jeez. That would be awesome.
It would be, that's some NHL Hits stuff. If I'd ever put NHL Hits, maybe I didn't think that would be a fun idea.
Man. I mean, if you want to go like full NHL, no, that's Gretzky 98. No, just plain Gretzky, what I'm thinking of, like where the goalie nets would turn into brick walls, and just like there'd be like fire and like every shot and just random shit like that.
I like the showmanship. It makes it more interesting. Like I'm pretty sure you have to have seen the tweet of that one Habs fan that was like, "Oh, Vegas fans, look around. We don't have the showgirls and the big theatrics and whatnot." I'm like, all right, so you're saying your thing is boring? Like, have a little bit of fun. Like, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like, hockey is supposed to be about fun. Yeah, you trash talk. You're like, oh, you suck. Oh, your mother, whatever.
It's all your fault. And it's like do something else with it. And that's why I love the Storm Surge. I love that shit. I love just like the most out there stuff. Like, I love the glow puck. I want that back. It's not going to come back because it's not on Fox, but I want some version of the glow puck back.
I think the Storm Surge. I always had like a soft spot for, ironically enough, Carolina and a bunch of the teams. Everyone that's in traditional markets hates. Like Florida, I always kind of liked Florida, even though I was never a fan specifically. I just like, oh, their logo is cool, or oh, it's cool, whatever. But like, that made me want to be an actual fan. They were my third team for a year or so because like the whole bunch of jerks thing, and they embraced that identity, and it was like fun.
Yeah,
it's fun.
It is, but you know what I hate, and this is like all the goodwill that's gone now because they signed Tony D'Angelo, is that they made their mark being everyone's second team, and they made that their mission. Like, we're gonna be everyone's first team in Carolina in that area. But for everyone who is in other markets, we're going to be that team they wish they were a fan of. And they did that so well until they signed fucking Tony D'Angelo.
I just don't like, I get it. It's a business move. Oh, yeah. When D'Angelo plays well, he replaces Dougie Hamilton's production to a pretty decent extent with like what, $8 million less a season. I get the motive, but it's like, do you want that guy in your locker room? Like, do you want someone that literally pissed off his teammates to the point where there was a fist fight in your locker room?
It's a project. Like it's like everyone's insistent they can work in a project. They can say, oh yeah, like we're going to be the ones to fix him. We can make it right. But if you're insisting that you're doing that without actually going through the real motions and seeing, how is this going to help our team other than from a hockey standpoint, then you're not doing it right. And that's the same thing with the Canadians with their pick.
I've never, like, obviously Arizona fan, right? You can bring up the Mitchell Miller thing, obviously, but those in glass houses don't throw stones. But like, I have never seen one of the clear cut easiest, I'm not going to take this guys, like, in realistically in a very long time. Because Mitchell Miller, I didn't know about that situation until after I made a video and everything. Mm-hmm. And then I'm like, oh God, like I started like pulling stuff back because I didn't want to be seen as like promoting his hockey ability when I found out something that egregious. But it's like
defending that.
Yeah. And they were the Hurricanes. They were everyone's second team. Like, even though a lot of the French Canadian fans tend to be the ones that like say, oh, Arizona should move, they made themselves so likable even to a market like that. And I was someone that I hated them going to the Cup Finals, obviously, because Vegas was still my second team because they hadn't done what they did to Fleury yet. But also I'm like, I don't want that fan base getting any more arrogant than they always are. But it's like they even made me by the end not hate them. That has to say something. And then I'm like, what did you just do? Look, if you really like see him as a young man that made a mistake, make him do the character work for an entire year while you're behind the scenes trying to sign him as an undrafted free agent next year. Make these people actually earn a second chance. Don't just, oh, it's fine, we'll work with him while he is now an NHLer with a first-round pedigree. No.
The one thing I'll give them, and the one thing I will say is it's out of, I'm not going to say his name because I don't think it matters really, but it's out of his hands. If he is going to do the work, then he can do the work and come back in a year and show that he's done the work, or come back in a few years, depending on how long it takes for him to really realize what he did. But it's all on the Canadians for what they did. Like it's all on them. They made the choice to draft him. They made the choice to go through all this media and controversy. And I think they're at least doing something by saying, okay, he's not going to be at our training camp. But this all could have been prevented because it's almost like them still getting their foot in the door by saying like, well, if he's not going to be at training camp, he's still ours in case he gets better. And like, that's still way too much due diligence.
It's still a little bit too much rewarding someone that by his own admission isn't mature enough for this yet. Obviously by what he did, to me, I will give him at least credit for that. At the very least, he was mature enough to know he wasn't mature enough to at least admit that and say, hey, please don't draft me. But you also got to admit there had to have been an actual adult in his ear being like, say this and shut up. But at the very least, he did that. Montreal just had to not. And then all those teams that were going to look at him in the second round also had to just not. And you could look at him in a year. He'd be a free agent. You could look at him in a year. I just don't understand it. Like, yeah, obviously, like the D'Angelo thing, I understand the hockey motive. I understand the business motive. But there are other kids. There were other good draft picks. There were other good guys they could have got that also, like the Coyotes had one or two really good character guys late in their draft that they could have gone for someone like that. And that speaks volumes for an organization. Yeah.
What you were going to show me another Doan jersey?
Yes, so that way we can have good character guys. So this one, I think I lost a jersey bet, or I just said I was going to do it. Don't remember. I usually make jersey bets because I want an excuse.
Oh yeah,
like when the Suns went 8-0 in the bubble, I'm like, oh, if they were like 6-0. I'm like, they go 8-0, I'll get an Ayton and Booker jersey. I just wanted an excuse to get a DeAndre Ayton jersey. But
is that the Adidas or the Edge?
The Fanatics. It's the Fanatics. I'm poor. If I want to afford more jerseys, I gotta go with this. But they still had some of the patches. I noticed that, and I asked they put it on it. Unfortunately, they didn't also put on the C. A little sad about that. But I asked them, like, hey, can I still get Shane Doan on a jersey? I had to buy it there. Yeah. So it would be expected. Doesn't bother me. And I wanted another Kachina because I have a Garland Kachina, but I wanted a Doan Kachina. He started his career wearing this. It's a cool thing. But I get the patch. I get a nice Doan jersey that I can wear, even though I'm probably not going to because, I mean, if I believe it with my core, no one in the Coyotes should wear 19. I shouldn't either, but at least get it on the jersey. And now I have the Kachina for it. And that makes it special. Funny story. I actually went to that retirement game. My brother-in-law, well, because my sister kind of forced him to, bought an extra patch for me. And because I didn't claim it quickly enough, because I didn't have a use for it yet, he hit it. And it's like, yeah, you're not getting it now. So I'm like, I'll buy another one.
There's another patch somewhere in his house just hiding.
I'll find it one day. Because they're about to have a little one, so I'm going to. I'm thinking because they still have like small Taylor Hall jerseys. I might get that as his kid's first jersey, and then just kind of like weasel around looking for the badge.
Taylor Hall, jeez,
it's on sale. Why not?
Yeah, do it. I mean, Hall. Who else? I don't know. Maybe Erickson when he's gone in 3 years when he's on long-term injury.
Well, I think he only has 1 year left on the contract. I don't think he's going to play at all this season.
Yeah. Do you have any Coyotes? I want to see them all.
So, I didn't realize you could still find some Shane Doan ones. So next tax return, I'm definitely going to be looking at that. But this one I wanted to get, but I didn't have the money. And my mother, for whatever reason, just one day was like, "Hey, what's your phone number so I can sell you some money?" I'm like, "Okay." I'm like, "What's the money for?" "Oh, it's a late wedding gift." So I'm like, "Okay, thank you." I didn't expect much of anything, but you'd be appreciative, and it was a decent amount. So I'm like, honey, wake up. We're going to the mall. And they still had some. And even though it's Fanatics, I had to get the reverse retro.
Yeah.
Like, bring this back, but bring the green one back and have both of them. Like, I don't know, Sundays, just wear your Sunday best. Just go out there a random one. But I needed this. It's a 2X, so I can't wear it there very much, but I still barely had the opportunity to get one. It is one of my favorites. I still wish they had the green one.
It's one of the best reverse retros, and that was done last year.
I don't get the hate for this. It's original. And also, I know it's supposed to be a gecko, but I always call this the salamander. So I'm like, give me the salamander.
Wait, that's supposed to be a gecko. Actually, no, it's gecko, yeah.
It's supposed to be a gecko. Yeah. I didn't know we had geckos in Arizona, but we don't have salamanders either. But it looked like a salamander. So I'm like, bring back the salamander. And then Nick Pinkerton, Twisted Wrister, was like, it's called the peyote. I'm like, you guys have an actual nickname for it? Like the Flying Fox, I've never heard anyone but me and my brother-in-law refer to it as that, but everyone understands what I'm saying, and we call it the Flying Fox. So I'm like, I didn't know people logged Coyotes jersey nicknames.
Man, all these nicknames, man, like the Meth Bear. I love that nickname. And they cannot call it that. Like I love some of them they've embraced. Like you'll see like NHL publications will use like Wild Wing and like Burger King. They can never use Meth Bear.
Don't they call it Teddy Bear? Or like isn't that what they have to like officially call it? Or
something like that. But like what else are you gonna call that? Like that, like the meth, like the one with the or the like you can't. I mean, if there's nothing inherently wrong with peyote, it's just you have those people that won't call it peyote because like they're like, I don't know.
It's like, oh, it's a drug reference. I'm like, yeah, but when you think about it, if you could say Kachina and peyote is usually used for specific, services and whatnot, it literally it would go with the theming anyway. I don't.
Yeah.
I do actually. I have one lacrosse jersey that I waited 15 years to get, and I also have another hockey jersey from a championship Arizona hockey team that I also had to wait 10 plus years. Never got to watch either of them live in person, and I'm kind of thinking of jerseys that I have with a story. Those are pretty decent stories if you'd like those as well.
Yeah.
Stretch. Oh, where art thou? Guess because this is mostly hockey. I guess we'll start off with hockey because most people probably don't even know lacrosse ever existed in Arizona. But this is a team that played for the American CHL that I always wanted to go watch a game at Tim's Toyota Center up in Prescott Valley. I love their logo. They had a couple of Coyotes that ended up playing for them. I think one was David Schlemko. The other one I think was a goalie.
Wait.
But
is this the Sun Dogs?
Someone actually knows.
Yes. Yes.
I can't tell this is a
Sun
real
Dogs.
one, but it was like $40. I'm like, I'll take it. I love this logo. I also like the little the sun patch on the shoulder. Like they had some pretty good ideas, and they still have the banners hanging up at it's now called Finlay Toyota Center. I got to go there to watch my Arizona Rattlers destroy the Northern Arizona Wranglers, but I should have wore this. I didn't have it yet, but if I go back, I'm wearing this.
Yeah. Oh wow. Man,
I like the webbing. I guess it looks kind of like the CCMs.
Yeah, like the netting and the underarms. Holy, I love the colors, the logo. I used to play EHM. I mean, I still do sometimes, but I used to play EHM a lot. I don't know if you ever heard of it.
No, I have not actually.
It is a blast. Eastside Hockey Manager. And that was always in, well, I mean, it was like 2007, the game, and that was like one of the minor league teams. And so I always knew that from there, but I love some of these minor league team names. But man, you had like, for a short time, you had the Roadrunners and the Sun Dogs like at the same time.
I think it was for 2 years because the ECHL for whatever reason, East Coast Hockey League had some West Coast teams, but they brought back the Phoenix Roadrunners. That was the only time I had heard about the Roadrunners. Later on, I would learn Robert Lang played for the version in the 90s, and there's been like 3 different versions, but I loved that logo, that era. The jerseys are way too expensive on eBay, but I'm probably going to bite the bullet and waste the money one day, but like I always wanted to see them live too. A lot of, hey, I'll take you to a game one day. They're dead now. Sorry, you're just never gonna get to watch them now.
Jeez.
But I love the homage to the original Phoenix Roadrunners. Same thing with the Tucson Roadrunners, and just the sky blue is not my favorite color. It works for some teams. I think that was one of the few teams, but that when they folded, I'm like, I want to go see a Sundogs game. I think they won the championship in 2009. I think it was. I'm like, take me to a Sundogs game. They're dead now. Sorry.
Shit, did they fold?
Yeah, they suspended because the season was supposed to suspend. I think I remember reading up on it not too long ago to try to refresh, but they never ended up coming back. The league came back either the next season or they managed to get it together, like the Arena Football League when the Rattlers moved to the Indoor Football League. But the Sundogs just never came back, kind of, I think, similar to the Sting.
Yeah.
Which is a transition.
There we go. That is
I waited 15 years for this.
Amazing transition. Oh, wow.
I watched them live or on TV, right? But when they the last couple of years, and I'm like, man, like Dan Dawson's a really good player. I like this lacrosse that they're playing it in the same arena as the Coyotes. I'm like, I was watching it on Cox 7. If anyone who's going to watch this in Arizona is going to know, remember that station. But I always wanted to see him live, never did. My dad starts working at jobbing.com. They had an entire rack of these on discount. Like, please get me a jersey. Never did. And when I started covering the Coyotes, I wanted to do a history of video, which wasn't that bad, but the new one's better. And I saw it for like 40 or 50, and I didn't think twice. I think I only had 40 or 50 left, and I'm like, I need this. That is 15 years of waiting for that one jersey. Yeah. Man, I love that I managed to find that.
And hold up the jersey again, because I love lacrosse jerseys are like so similar to hockey jerseys. If they were more kind of, I don't know how to put it. Like, it's like
the half sleeve.
Yeah, it's like the 90s never left lacrosse. Like 90s hockey never left lacrosse for some reason.
Look at the fun logo. And it's also, when you think about it, it's a bit of an homage to either the Roadrunners or the Kachina logo because he's holding the stick. Like, it's a cool little detail. Let us have fun little stuff like this.
And then hold up the bottom, because they have the LA Kings thing going there where they have the name on the bottom.
I like that. As a kid, I always thought it was the weirdest thing. But like, as an adult, I'm growing to appreciate it because it gives it personality. But I also love this, especially.
That is awesome. That is just awesome.
I really wish I could have played lacrosse. Lacrosse is fun. I got to play it in middle school, like for gym class. And I just pretended I was Zabinick McCulloch and I was the best defender out there. And no one in my school knew what lacrosse or hockey was. So I was the person that dominated at both. And everyone, even though I was that weird kid that always wore Coyotes jerseys and well, mostly hats to school, no one picked me first on the first day of gym class for hockey. And I scored like 7 goals. And then I was everyone's first choice.
Yeah, that's on them.
They were going for the athletic guys. I love cheeseburgers and sitting down to watch Sports Guy.
But shit, that's on them. That's like they took a gamble on a pick that didn't work out, and then someone got a steal in like 7th round?
Yep.
7th
round. What is that, Datsuk or Zetterberg, or were they 6 rounds? I'll take it.
Man.
I'm trying to think of other jerseys that have stories. I mean, is there any... Did you want to see any like weirder ones? I think I have like 1 or 2 that might be weirder.
Yes, as weird as it gets. If you have the weirdest stuff, I want to see it.
All right, I'm going to go grab everything that I think is as uncommon as I have that I haven't already showed, because the Sting is pretty uncommon. So I got one that's weird, One that's uncommon, one that has a funny story with it, but it's not real, but that's the funny story with it. And then just an ugly one that I've always loved that people are finally starting to love as well. That's what I got.
Okay. That is a huge lead up. Like I cannot guess what any of these are going to be.
All right, so I'll start with the uncommon, although this one might be a little disappointing because it's Tucson, but you really can't. Like, if you go on eBay, I've never seen a used Tucson jersey. I've only seen the game worn auction ones. But I needed to grab that. They had like a rack of them left, like 2019 at the team shop. I wasted my tax return on that because you're not getting deals on AHL jerseys unless you like the Hershey Bears. AHL.com, stop trying to sell me a Hershey Bears jersey.
Jeez.
So I sucked it up and got it because that's a fantastic logo and I like the colors. Yeah. I really want their Kachina, not because I think it's good looking. When I first saw that, I saw the logo. I was in my car on the side of the road. I guess I can have a fun story out of it. In my car on the side of the road, waiting for my girlfriend at the time to get off work. She worked at a school, so I didn't feel like waiting outside there. So I parked like way the hell away in a dirt lot.
Yeah.
And I saw it. My phone was like about to die because it was like really hot. And I see this bird that looks like roadkill. It looked like a Chinese knockoff of the Kachina, and the bird just wanted to go to sleep now. And I laughed hysterically for about 5 minutes straight and said, I need one. I'm assuming I have to go to their specific team store for it. I haven't been down there since, I think, late 2019, early 2020, just before the shutdown. I went one time with my wife, and I didn't get to go to the actual store, but I got a hat out of it, but that's cool. But I want one because it is just the ugliest thing I have ever seen. Like, it is such... It literally, it feels like a Chinese knockoff of the Arizona Kachina, and I love it.
And I love it's just that weird, like what do you call your red shade? Like there's a word, brick red. There we go, brick red.
We got brick red. We have Sedona red. We got a couple of different reds depending on.
But brick red's the one I'm thinking of, and it's just such a bizarre mix.
It
is just so like it looks. It is just such a like bizarre mix that it just sort of works.
I described it like this, but obviously I'm going to have to pay full price for it. I don't know if you saw any of the MLB City Connect jerseys, but the Diamondbacks one was just atrocious. Obviously, when the Suns had the Valley, you're not going to top that, but it's just this ugly like sand color, and it says, I think it's serpents in Spanish, which cool. We have a huge Hispanic community. That's great. Nothing wrong with that. But the logo itself is just like the snake from the D on the D-backs logo is so stretched out, and it's so basic and boring. But I'm like, same thing with the burrito hats that they ended up canceling and not releasing. I'm like, if you see those, buy them because nobody likes them. And in 10 years, when someone's like, oh, bring that back, or they're feeling nostalgic and want to buy it and you don't care about it in your collection because you always thought it was ugly, you can make your money back.
Oh, definitely. I mean, it's also like the turn ahead the clock with one sec. Yeah, there we go. No, you cut out for a little bit.
Am I back?
Yeah.
I'm back.
Yeah, right. And now I see you. But it's like the turn ahead the clocks where it was just so batshit insane, and then now there's probably like a bunch of people that want to see them back.
You see it with just like you said, the Wild Wing. We brought up a bunch of other jerseys. Like, I don't understand how people's tastes are consistently as bad, where they don't see the Wild Wing and think this is the greatest like stupid idea ever, and don't just buy it up for full price because it's the greatest stupid idea ever. Let's go with ugly. Although
let's do it.
I've never thought it's ugly. Everyone else kept trying to tell me it was ugly, and I found it for $40 not that long ago, and I had to get a Buffalo Slug. I'm sad it's not the Reebok.
Yeah.
It's the CCM.
Yeah.
I'm sad it's not the Reebok, but this. I've always loved this logo. I never understood why anyone would dislike this beautiful Buffalo Slug.
It's funny. I'm more about the jersey itself. And one thing I will say, I love that you got the 1 year CCM, because like I've always seen most people get the Edge version. But like considering that they only wore that one for 1 year, that makes it even cooler. That it's like the original one-off. Yeah, the original CCM, or I guess like
Oh, sorry.
I don't know. Go on.
I always wanted to get Maxim Afinogenov because I always loved him in an NHL 06. I'm like, I want one of these. He was 68, I think, or was it? He was 11. I apologize, Buffalo fans. You can yell at me in the comments, but I always wanted Afinogenov on one of these, and that is just perfection.
Man, I know. I always think of like NHL games too. Like I had 09 on PC, and those jerseys are like embedded into me. Like, it's funny because the jerseys that you watch, because I started watching hockey around that time too. The jerseys that that were around when you got into the game are always the ones that you sort of always associate the teams with.
Honestly, I wore the peyote so many times in NHL 06. I was like, I don't know why this isn't their main jersey. Howling Coyote being cool and all. The peyote, like, I don't know. Yeah. I love that design. I can't describe how much I've always just loved that stupid design with the desert and the cacti and the one thing. No matter how annoyed I got at seeing the Kachina because it was getting like overhyped in my mind, was the purple moon. The purple half moon logo. I love the red one, but the purple one is just one of the best secondary logos of all time.
It's just so, and it goes so well with both the word mark and just by itself.
You can make a puck out of that. You can honestly, you can make that the gimmick, and that's the game puck with the NHL official logo underneath it.
Well, they did. That was their center ice logo from the beginning, right?
That was the center ice logo last year. I hope that's always the center ice logo. That is just, I can't gush about it enough. It is just such a perfect secondary logo.
I love because it's pretty much all official that it's coming back full time. Like, and one thing I will say, I forget if I did say it already, but I like the away better than the home for the original.
The white one with the green up here,
with the green up there and the brick red letters. Like, those were just beautiful, and I cannot wait to see the Adidas version of that.
My only thing is that, and this is just, I've accepted, I hate road jerseys mainly because they stain very easily. But like, I have a disdain for how plain a lot of the road jerseys are. And in the back of my mind, I have always ranked the home Kachina, the old home Kachina, now it would be in a way, as like one of my least favorites. And it's I will admit, I am starting to grow on it a little bit, but like I like having more color in there. Like I kind of agree with Hockey Guy as well, where it's like, hey, the Coyotes wear red, why can't Colorado wear their blue alternate against them, or the Kings wear like a purple jersey against them, or pick any team as long as the jersey color is different, not Carolina versus Arizona where it's a different shade of red.
Yeah, like I could see, and I think I've said it to so many people so many times that I could see the league doing away with designated home and away jerseys at some point in the next 10 years. Like, where it's like you just said, like where there will be teams color matching. So if like Nashville is playing, I don't know, or like it's like we said, like if Arizona's playing Colorado, then the Avs will wear like their Navy jersey, or they'll wear like another one. So, or like Toronto and Tampa, they'll wear like different jerseys.
St. Pat's.
Yeah. St. Pat's. Yeah. Just go all out. I love it. Just like make it like the NHL games where you would have the most random teams wearing like the most random stuff, you know?
Unless you're an idiot like me and think, oh, I can tell the shade difference between this and the Red Wings home. I'll just wear this in the game, and I'm passing to the Wings because I have no idea what I'm doing.
Jeez. RIP to anyone who plays as Tampa against Toronto, really. Can you imagine?
Well, like that's one thing I like that, and until the Valley, I can grab it real quick if you want, just to show anyone that doesn't know what I'm referring to. Until this jersey perfection, minus this, because I hate the ads on them. Mm-hmm. Until this jersey perfection was brought into the world this year, I've always thought basketball jerseys were ugly, even though I love the Suns' stupid orange one that said PHX on it. But like you see in the playoffs and the finals, they were wearing different jerseys, different colored jerseys against like different. Like the Suns they didn't wear their white jerseys once. I don't think it was their orange or their Black Valley jersey. And I want a world where that is what we get in hockey because the hockey has the best jerseys. So why not let some expression and some, obviously if both teams have the exact same jerseys and their alternates are also the exact same, fine. Let them wear the roads or put on a practice jersey because they're usually better than the roads.
Man. I always like those, those old center ice ones where they had like the circle.
Yeah, the logo was in the dead center of the circle. It
was just massive, like circle. It was like center ice, and I don't know. Those always look cool.
I had basically the old. Most teams had that same design for their practice jerseys around 2007, but it looked like the Buffa Slug, but it was just red Reebok logo and the Coyotes logo right there, and it was their practice jersey. And that was one of my favorite ones I had as a kid. And I'm like, you see, this design can translate. Because it's a solid design.
Yeah. Here, get the Buffa Slug again. Because I forget. Like I think I left off what I was going to say. Yeah, that I love that. Without the logo, it's such a fantastic jersey. I mean, like I love the logo just for the kitsch of it, but it's just such a fucking good jersey. Like. I would have loved to see, the goat head logo.
Yes.
That on the Buffa Slug jersey.
Ironically, I always thought that was the ugliest logo, was unironically. But I'm interested now. But also, you could also mess with the colors along with the goat jersey and have some option. You can have this same jersey design with these colors. You can mix it. I think they had like a very dark red and a black with some silver going through it around the goat head. You can do some weird things with this jersey and never touch the design. You just touch in the shoulder and the logo.
Well, the shoulder is the same one from the goat head design. They never changed that. Yeah. The B.
It's so good. It's just that.
Like literally, I think it was from I forget. It was either the alternate that it came from or the home and away, the B with the sword.
Shannon and I've seen a couple other people say it. They wouldn't be opposed to seeing this as a primary logo on a jersey. I'm curious what they would do with that, but they would need to bring in a design. I don't care how ugly it would look that has like a wave or a slash going through it with the sword, or like the sword is cutting something. Like it, you'd have to get really weird with it for that to work for me.
Yeah. But the one thing that I've always had with the goat head, like the one issue, and a lot of people have kind of pointed it out, is that it's not a Sabres jersey. It's a Buffalo jersey. That is just, it's straight up like, because you've seen that, like there's the negative space Buffalo hidden on the jersey design.
Is there?
Yeah. I don't know if you've ever seen that, but someone pointed that out to me and it was such a mind fuck.
Did it like the layers peel back and you were staring into the abyss when you finally saw it?
But it's like, how the Dallas Stars, like the 90s, 2000s jerseys, they had like the star shape.
Oh yeah, the one going through here, that was a really cool design.
So it's like the Sabres, it does that with like, there's the horns and like, it's like there's a silhouette of a buffalo head. And it's, once you see it, you can't unsee it.
I'm gonna have to look at that amazing. For like 20 minutes when this is over because that is ridiculously interesting.
That is when I saw that I was just like, that is amazing, and it made the jersey so much better for me. The logo, I mean, like the logo is still cool in a nostalgic Dominic Hasek way, but yeah.
But like. It's like what we're gonna see with the Tucson Kachina in like 20 years. You're gonna look at that and be like, "Oh, that's the ugliest thing I've ever seen," but it's beautiful because of it.
Man, I mean, you're seeing that already with. I mean, we talked about Wild Wing and all that, but I mean, like the Syracuse Crunch man. Like that one.
Did they ever do away with him and try to replace it for a bit, or was it always Crunch Man?
Well, they had for that like little. Well, not a little period. It was. I remember in the 2000s, it was there that like weird ass gorilla, that like cokehead gorilla, where he was just like, and that was their logo for like 10 years or something. And I have no clue why they decided, okay, we have this serial mascot who's our logo, You know what? We're gonna replace him with this coked out gorilla. This coked out albino gorilla. That great idea, guys. Perfect.
They stole that from the Suns. They're like, well, that guy showed up at a game in a gorilla suit, and he became the mascot. So this is the guy.
What?
Put him in a gorilla suit.
Wait. Hold on. I've never heard that story.
All right. This was always just told to me. So obviously I need to actually fact check it, but I never heard a different story. Apparently, I think it was in the 70s or 80s. Some guy just started going to the games in a gorilla suit, and that's why the Suns mascot is a gorilla. Because they just eventually asked him to be the mascot because he just showed up wearing a gorilla suit.
Shoot, that is awesome.
I will make sure to fact check it, and I'll send you an article or something later.
Yeah.
But not a single person has ever told a different story about that being the mascot. So it's either the biggest cover-up, flat Earth thing in the world, or it's true.
But didn't something like that happen with the San Diego Chicken? I remember hearing like where he would show up to games and he was an unofficial mascot and he would just show up with the costume. I probably have it wrong.
I'd have to look into that. I'm not 100% sure. I'm not too familiar with San Diego, but it's San Diego. I wouldn't put it. I wouldn't put it past. Yeah. They love the Chargers, despite the Chargers having bad ownership. They are just a different breed out there, and I love them. They're great.
Man.
Sorry.
Oh no, go on.
I got 3 more: ugly, uncommon, and then one that I just wanted is from a movie. Was the last 3.
Yeah.
So I got this. It was like $20, and it was the ugliest thing. I saw it. It's a giveaway jersey. I saw it last year on eBay, and I needed it. It's the San Jose, where is it? Golden State crossover.
Oh wow!
Presented by Zoom.
Okay, so presented by the thing that we're on.
This is just the ugliest thing I have ever seen. I wore it when I was live or on the podcast with Nick Pinkerton because I had to give him some grief for this because I'm like I just
that looks like the kind of thing that you would buy from Walmart on sale.
Or the guy in the tent outside of, I'm just going to say Chase Field, whatever your baseball park equivalent, outside of Chase Field, who also sells $5 water bottles that you're allowed to bring into the stadium.
Yeah.
It's great.
That looks less sturdy than the ball hockey jerseys I used to wear when I played ball hockey. Wait, is the logo screen printed?
Yeah, everything on this is screen printed. It is.
Oh, jeez. I'm pretty sure all the other ones are going to end up in at a secondhand something. Oh, gee.
And also, it had to have the fakest looking. At least when the Coyotes did this, the Phoenix was screen printed on. It was the giveaway for the opening for 07-08, but it said Jobby Nakamurina here, screen printed. They didn't put some aftermarket tag on there.
Oh, jeez.
It's perfection, which is how stupid it is.
It's just so cheaped out. You can tell they just pumped out a bunch. Man, those are my ball hockey jerseys.
If it wasn't a medium, the only reason I got it was because it was ugly. But I could still wear it on camera when you can't see the belly hanging out. But
no.
It's just, if I could actually wear it, I would wear that to go shoot around. I actually went before I ripped it up for the whole repenting for cheering for Vegas in the playoffs. I had this fake Mark Stone, and I would use that to go out and shoot around. Let's see.
That would be perfect.
All right. Apologies. Now I have 3. I forgot the fake one was in the back. This one, it's going to be uncommon for a lot of people. Yeah. But this one, I was on vacation, and I'm a very bad impulse spender. And I love the Hartford Whalers, but I couldn't find a Whalers jersey. And I'm like, this is a good logo. Why not show a little bit of support for women's hockey? I'm not going to claim to be like an uber feminist that watches every single game, but I don't think supporting the team to pay for a good looking product was a bad idea. And I had to get this, and I look at the cute little whale. It's just.
I love the hockey stick on the mouth. I mean, I've always liked that.
I'm not going to lie. It's kind of like, I've said it a couple of times. I'll admit I'm dumb. So I didn't realize there's a V in the Vegas logo until Shannon pointed it out. And the same thing with this. I just see,
wow.
mouth. But now I can't unsee it.
But it's the same kind of stick like in the Canucks logo because it's like.
But is the orca biting on the stick or is it? It's
part of his. What happened? No, he got a stick to his mouth and it cut a stick-sized hole in his mouth.
And then I also like
it's like the Joker. He has a stick like.
See, I got these scars.
Yeah, the waves.
I think it's a well-crafted jersey. I'm starting to with this is very clean, you know. I'm starting to hate the straps, like the tie straps up here. I like a more consistent neck. I know a lot of people are complaining about that for Adidas, but like other than that, it actually kind of looks like a 90s jersey when you take all that into account.
Oh,
it has a good like retro feel to it. So I'm like, I can buy it.
Yeah. But women's hockey is great. Like there's one of my buddies and former guest, Kyle Sullivan. He's a huge Whale fan. And he was going on about like how he's been really getting into it and how him and another former guest of mine, Chris Micieli, were going like they were picking teams and that they were really getting into it. Just and like I've seen a few games and like it's just crazy how many people just aren't really giving a chance when they really should.
Yeah, I get that, and like I wish I watched a few more of the games. I think I've tuned in once or twice. Like normally I don't know when they play, but like I'm someone that, especially, and I've said it before. Like when all the teams passed up on Cole Caulfield, undersized players utilize skill and speed, and that's how they get around the big defense. That's how they.
Oh yeah.
And from what I can tell, that's what the women's game is a lot. And I'm someone that even when I was a really young kid, there's a really old commercial or this on Disney Channel. This one girl that I wish they have one day they'll have a national women's hockey league and it'll overtake the men's game. And my first thought then was, why can't we have women playing in the NHL so that way they're all like right there? Because look at Martin St. Louis or Cole Caulfield, undersized guys, and a lot of the women are just shorter than the men. Not every single one, but a lot of them are. But they play differently as a result of that. It's a lot of speed, a lot of skill play. I'm like, I want to see that, but in the NHL. And that's just kind of like what I always preferred even as a young kid. But even if, for whatever reason, I don't know if it's a rule thing. I don't know if just it's never happened yet, minus I think it was a preseason game with Tampa Bay. They had a woman playing
man on
goaltender. But I would love to see that happen one day where it's like, I think it's a lot of like the WNBA paradox thing where it's like you have a lot of people like, oh, it's women's sports. It's not going to be good. But then you also have the chip on your shoulder thing where it's like, you'll have some people that are either fans or athletes in it that are like, no, we're better than the men. And then you start having that really stupid like argument between both extremes. And I think that because people had to have heard the stories, not even seen it, because I've gone to plenty WNBA games because I end up getting a lot of free tickets. And I'm like, I go support the home team. The Mercury won 3 championships. Why shouldn't I go support the home team no matter what? And I'm like, I think that has to be a huge part in why you see a lot of women's sports getting disrespected, because you have just the extremes of people that have the chip on their shoulder and that are those people that look down on it because they just immediately think, oh, it's women, so it's lesser. And it's a huge disservice because those athletes, especially since the women won gold like a couple of years ago or 4 years ago. So and the American women, but it's like they can be just as good.
Definitely.
I can tell you right now, OEL, I haven't thought he's been good for like 4 years. I can tell you without watching a single game, there has to be at least 20 women that can outplay OEL like 100%. And I understand that might seem like, oh, he's saying he's worse than a girl. I genuinely don't mean it like that. I mean, like, their skill level is comparable to NHL players. And even if it starts off as only 1 or 2, are good enough right now, you keep developing that game. You keep making sure the women are playing with the boys. The best always come through, no matter what.
Yeah, and it's like Manon Rhéaume didn't get there just because of that she was a woman. Like, I mean, Phil Esposito, when he recruited her, I guess, I don't know if it was him that scouted her, but he literally has gone on record and has always said, I didn't get her because she was a woman. I got her because she was good enough to potentially be in the NHL. I mean, she played in the minors for a few years, and I think Atlanta. And eventually there should be another player that will hopefully get that shot.
100%, because it is a huge disservice, because like those women work just as hard as the guys to get where they are, but their leagues are looked down upon just because they're women. Like it's a huge disservice, because like even from the little bit I've seen on like highlights and stuff, like and people that like I used to write for the Puck Authority, and they cover a lot of women's hockey. It's like some of these women are really, really skilled, fast skaters, and I would love to see that in the NHL.
Yeah, for sure. What was the last one that you had?
All right, so the one before the fake, I had to.
Yeah.
It was only like $40. Obviously, it's a replica, but like, this is the Goon.
You cannot not get
Slapshot,
that.
like, is very good, but Goon was like, I love Goon, and there's so many good quotes from Goon, and like, I have a Doug the Thug, but it's a really bad looking one, and this one looks like it would be legit. Yeah, and it's like Xavier Laflamme. It's like, oh, we're taking the A off your jersey. You don't deserve it. Unless A stands for asshole, then you definitely deserve it. It's such a good movie, and I had to have it. And I'm like, at Coyotes Fan Fest, I wore the Doug the Thug one, and people were just laughing because it's 69. So I was running around like, big number 69. Yeah.
It'll be hilarious. Yeah.
And then the last one, I got a couple how'd you get that on Twitters. It's a fake. Seattle Kraken. I was bored. I had $60 burning a hole in the pocket. And
jeez.
I'll give it credit. It's better looking than the Vegas ones I've seen. I bought one that was supposed to be a breakaway, like real Fanatics. Yeah. Marc-Andre Fleury. It was a fake Adidas. But like, for what it's worth, from a distance, looking at it, you would think this might actually be like a Fanatics replica. Then you look at, they have the first year button. They don't, that is only for the first year. The stitching around the C is fraying. I don't know if you can see that. It doesn't even say Climalite on there. I think it changed to Aerotech or whatever it is now, but they changed it. It's a really bad looking Kraken. This is the beauty of just how ugly it is. And that bored $60 purchase on eBay, just because I thought it would be funny to have a Seattle jersey before everybody else, has led to a couple conversations, and I think it's funny.
Yeah. I don't know.
Look at
yeah, it's just such a shit show.
Look. Unless it's for the meme, I don't I remember when Shannon was talking about, it was one of his more aggressive videos in 2017. He's like, you know that jersey's worth $150, and to me, we all know the main reason they're as expensive as they are is because of licensing, and the consumer, we feel like that's a really dumb reason to almost double the price. So I'm like, not everyone can afford those, but the vast majority of the jerseys over here, and if you want, I can just grab to hold up just to show the amount I bought.
Oh, no,
I
of
bought
course.
for 60 or less. I'll go grab them real quick just to show
for sure.
what you can get if you just wait.
Yeah.
All of these.
Oh, wow.
60 or less.
Jeez.
Ugh. That is going to be so fun putting back, but it's all right. It's a women's Eric Carlson from NHL Shop, an Atlanta Thrashers, a Matt Duchesne Colorado, a Carolina, a Phil Kessel Pittsburgh, a Minnesota Wild, a PK Subban Nashville jersey. I got so many of those in the last 14, 15 months on sale. Like they'll get sold to Ross, and then people will flip them, or they'll be in overstock, so they'll get sold to warehouses and oversellers. Like Connor Garland, I was not going to miss that. Well, my wife was gracious enough to buy me that. It was a nice gift to me, but I would have bought it anyway. Same thing with the Shane Doan jersey. I paid that full price because I wanted that jersey. But if you just want a jersey to add to the collection, they go on sale all the time. There's overstock all the time. if you want to build a collection, same thing with like video games. Go to Walmart, they'll have cheap games that no one's buying. I have like 20 behind me that were 8 or less. You put them in the collection. Even if you never play them, you have a nice bookshelf. You have a nice, jersey collection you can show off in your closet. Like it, if you just know where to look and have the patience, there's a lot to find. Oh
yeah, like all my Mascas and my older CCM jerseys were secondhand. Like I'm like I said, I'm near Toronto, and I'm near. There's a little area called Kensington Market, and it's such a great place. Like there's a lot of like secondhand, kind of like little shops, and like it's like a little like village kind of area, and like so many jerseys for like $20-$30. Like I found just so many, and it's crazy how like on eBay they'll be like 60, 70, 100, and you can get them for like $20-$30, and it's just insane. Like you just got to know where to look. No, like don't be afraid to go to Value Village. Here we have a place called Value Village, or like secondhand places or Goodwill.
My wife actually found it's my favorite of the jerseys, but it's the Robo Penguin, but it's the away. She found that at Goodwill for like $10 or $20. She got me this spring training. It's a screen printed, but I still like it. Old D-backs jersey with Mark Reynolds on it for $5. Like and look, I have this like spray stuff, and I soaked it in that and then washed it, and it's like, hey, all the bacteria is off of it. It's good as new. And same thing that Shannon said, you don't know it's used unless you tell them. And even then, I bought this and got a good deal on it.
It's a good story. There's always a good story in there.
So like, no matter what. I just never understand people being like I get people wanting the authentic Adidas with the real fight strap and the premium lettering. I get that. But like a lot of people, like I was an experience, and I'll say it to anyone, like when I was getting back into jersey collecting in 2018, a lot of people like look down on going to eBay or thrift stores, or I see them at Ross all the time. I've only found football and basketball at Ross, but NHL shop, that Carlson jersey, it's a women's, but I got a 2X, so it's wearable for me. Was $12 because they just wanted to get rid of it. And it's a Reebok. Who cares? The logo looks nicer than the Fanatics logo. So
definitely.
I'll take that. I got 3 D-backs jerseys. They're the Majestic, so they're trying to get rid of them for like $100. You think I'm going to say no to that? I now have 3 extra Diamondbacks jerseys. It's only because it went on sale, and I'm like, I'm not so proud. I'm like, I'm only going to get the newest runs from the team shop. On top of that, Nike's made the jerseys look really ugly. They look really ugly these last 2 years.
Yeah. But but you have like 60 in total, right?
Yeah, there's gotta be 30 that I just threw down there in total.
Oh, wow.
It's still full. Just off the top of my head that I can see out of the corner of my eye, I have 2 Arizona Rattlers jerseys, 5 D-backs jerseys, 4 more Suns jerseys. I think another 8 Coyotes jerseys, including the military appreciation jersey. I have a Fanatics Vegas jersey. Northern Arizona Wranglers, a Tennessee Titans Derrick Henry jersey because I got it at Ross last week for $25. It's the current jersey, current player. What?
Yeah.
An OKC jersey, a Houston Rockets jersey, both $15 at Ross. Like, just off the top of my head that I can glance at.
Man. I swear this episode would be like 5 hours if we got through all of them.
Well, on top of that, I've done different videos on different jerseys. I'm getting ready to re-up my jersey collection, which is going to be like 50 or 60 minutes. Oh my God. I talk too much when it comes to my jerseys, but like I saw a picture, and I'll have it in that new video. Sorry to plug so much, but like,
do it, man. Plug as much as you want.
In the corner of my jersey collection, it's my Reebok Coyotes jersey. It looks like that one, but it's a men's. I traded my Mikhail Bodker old Reebok for it because my brother-in-law bought my sister the Coyotes Reebok. It didn't fit her, and my Bodker did, so we just swapped. So I had that. I had the old 06-07 Coyotes away because it was $40. It has a season ticket holder's name on it. I just wanted a jersey to wear. I think I had one Diamondbacks jersey. I got that one secondhand as well. I no longer have that one, unfortunately, but I got a replacement for it. And I think the Islanders, the Carolina, and the Colorado one. And it was like a very small, like eight or 10 jerseys just sitting there. And now I'm like, I might need a new closet.
Man. And I don't like, you can probably end up getting like a whole room, like a whole walk-in closet for all of them.
I'm going to have to. And then like I'll have to be like Shannon and organize it. Like right now, the left side has a bunch of like any official shirts. And a lot of them I refuse to wear because I don't want the logos to fade. I'm one of those weirdos. I'll go to Walmart and get like the cheap one and wear that because I don't want the premium ones to fade, even though I get them on sale on NHL.com or NBA.com because they're on sale. Or like the Rally of the not the Rally of the Valley, the Valley Oop one was $10 at Marshall's. Like it goes those. Then it's like Suns, basketball, baseball, football, including arena football. Then I have my lacrosse jersey. Then all the hockey stuff going from Arizona to Tucson, the Sundogs. I think it still had it there when it might be behind Vegas because Vegas was number 2. Then Vegas. Then everyone else in order of I just like the jersey. Like San Jose's jersey was before the Rangers, Zuccarello jersey, which I think had Minnesota's away in between them. It just whatever random order that I would have to actually categorize. All right, Connecticut Whale, Arizona Coyote.
Man, that's how I have my records categorized like that. So it's going to have to be like that. Just like the whole like closet for like every letter of the alphabet. It's like, okay, I'm going to go into, I'm trying that. I don't think there's been a hockey team that started with Z. I'm trying to think of one. I don't think there has. Like, I guess Zurich in the NLA.
Maybe
Probably.
like a college team. Is there like a
Zarvard?
There has to be something. Zarvard.
Yeah.
ASU.
They changed their name. Yeah.
Well, man, it's what jersey? What mood? Honey, pick a letter. F. Florida. Not
Fresno
Florida.
Falcons.
Fresno Falcons.
Just going through it. Yeah.
Or you can go by team name and be a complete psychopath.
Oh, or you do like you ever seen the movie High Fidelity?
No.
Oh man, that's a movie about record collectors. It's great. Jack Black is in it. But where the main character is organizing his record collection in like a different way, and I think he's doing it like how he got from one band to another, one artist to another. So I'm picturing like that kind of thing, like that, like bizarre things like players, like players who played with players. So you'll have like Doan with Ray Whitney with like Pat Falloon.
That, or you can be an absolute fucking mad lad. Blanks, player name in order of player name.
Oh, man. Or just like you're ranking jerseys per week, and you have like, okay, like you change it every week. There's people out there that do this kind of thing.
More power to them.
Yeah,
man. If I had 20 more jerseys, I wouldn't want the burden to have to try to organize them.
Oh, geez.
Is there anything else you want to talk about? I mean,
no, I think,
I'm pretty sure I gave you a lot of meat on the book.
Yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot to work with. Yeah. Obviously, there's your channel, AZSportsGuy.
Yep.
I made that mistake where I searched AZ Sports Fan, and there's another guy that I'm sure you're aware that it's called AZ Sports Fan.
It's funny. I think he only talks Cardinals and like Suns, I think. So I'm like, you'll see a good variety where like I don't talk about the Cardinals because in my 2019 Cardinals like big video like reviewing like documenting their season, the NFL manually claimed it 3 times. I counterclaimed it. They rejected it. I countered again. They waited the full, I think it's 30 days. I forget how many, or it might be 90 days for it to lapse, and then manually claimed it again. So I'm like, all right, anything with the shield on it, I don't cover, I don't buy unless it's secondhand, like my Baker Mayfield jersey from a pawn shop. But unless it's secondhand, if it has the shield, I don't buy it.
That's the MLB, though. That's just the MLB being the MLB.
Oh my God, they're also dinosaurs. Like, oh,
holy shit!
What is this content creation thing? Oh, you mean the thing that's helped basketball, especially basketball? God, when I was first getting back into sports again, I would play like NBA 2K18 because it was on sale for like $5. I'd play that while listening into like B Souls or Andy Hoops, I think, or I hope I said his name right, or Rusty Buckets. Like that, it helps grow the game because younger people hear like stories throughout the history, or they got coverage throughout the season. Like it's done wonders for hockey, especially having the huge hockey community that's grown exponentially. Even
it really has. Yeah,
it's phenomenal.
And that's why I love, like, there's like guys like you, and there's so many people out there that are doing something like that, just like in content, giving takes on stuff, and especially something like Arizona, where there is diehard hockey fans, but there isn't a lot of there's like coverage that's kind of all over the place. So it's cool that people are filling in and doing that, and that's kind of giving a voice to that,
Yeah, I like one of the main reasons I wanted to do it was to give proper coverage, because I was working at Village Inn as a dishwasher, and I'll keep it short, I promise. Arizona sports, David Peralta was having an all-star season in 2018, and on the radio on the way home, they were talking about who might be the third string like tackle for the Cardinals. Yeah. I'm like, all right, the Rattlers were in the United Bowl, and they didn't talk about any of the playoff stuff until 30 minutes before kickoff for that game, and I was on my way to the game.
Yeah,
it's ridiculous. Like you can't buy one. I understand that it's about goals one. I'm like, you can't buy one.
Oh, jeez. Yeah,
so, you gotta. Even if I have 20 people watching me, I at least want to give some sort of detailed coverage for it if I can.
Oh no, definitely. I mean, like, mind you, you guys brought Austin Matthews into the game.
Technically, both Kachucks were born here too, even though they're both Missouri boys. But they were both born here. Donor, born and raised, number 91. Well, for ASU, I think he was 9 for the steal, but number 91, staying in Arizona. I hope he wears 21 because that was his dad's original number.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. That's like that weird like area where, like, if you get an Iginla OG, well, not OG, but like 90s Flames jersey with like 24 for the like weird part where you like wore that, or like Broder with I forget, it was like 30, like 20, no 29 with Broder.
Or like Kevin Bianco wears 23 for Tucson. If he plays this year in Arizona, he might change it, but he's been 75 always in Arizona, and it's the weirdest thing. And if he ever does become a mainstay, he'll be known for 23 if he does get to change it with OEL being gone. But like, it's the weird. What kids don't get to choose their jersey numbers until after they get a chance. So you might have 3-4 years of wearing 24 for Iginla or 21
pretty
for
much.
Doe.
Yeah. Funny that you bring, and I'll make this quick. Funny that you bring up OEL. Do you think the Coyotes will ever retire OEL's number in the future?
I hope not, because he was so good as a young kid. He was phenomenal. But up to the couple years before he signed that extension, and I remember one of my first videos was why the Coyotes shouldn't extend him, because he was losing his defensive ability. The scoring touch was starting to go. And I'm like, Arizona has this thing, and I've criticized the fan base so many times for it, where they latch on to guys that had one good year or a couple of good years and a lot of mediocrity, like Mike Smith or I think they tried to latch on to Doug Moss for a little bit. Thank God that never became a thing. But like OEL would on any other team, and I genuinely feel like it's going to get exposed this year, any other team would be seen as, at best, a pretty good player. At worst, what he is now, not very good. But in here, because this fan base, once they attach, you're loved. Well, once you have that Raja Bell status, I don't know if you know anything about the 07 Suns. Once you have that status, this city loves you through thick and thin, no matter what changes. So, like, for the fans, they might do it. Honestly, I could see it. one day. I just hope they don't, because I don't like how it sets the bad precedent for
retiring numbers. Yeah.
Well, not just that, Arizona kind of glorifying. I don't want to say mediocrity, because he was damn good. He was damn good, but like glorifying guys that are. Doan deserves the number retirement. I think Zbigniew McCulloch also deserves it because of how long he was here, how good he was for how long. But like, I feel like retiring 23 would be like retiring Smith or like something like that, where it's like, yeah, he was good for a little bit. He was, but the majority of it wasn't. And Shane Doan only had a couple of bad years. And even then he had that Phoenix season, like the year before his last year, where he had a very good year. So it's like 20-year guy, someone that deserves it versus someone that was just very good to not very good while he was here. That's just my thoughts on it.
Yeah. Who have you guys retired? Because wait, do you guys have a banner for Gretzky? Because I might be remembering that wrong, that you did at one point.
We have a Ring of Honor. We have Gretzky in Coyotes colors because he was the coach.
Yeah, owner and all that.
But they had the retired numbers for Winnipeg. I do not know when they became unretired, and it was just a Ring of Honor thing. But it's always been in the Ring of Honor, never a banner. So you had, what is it? It's a
Howard Chuck.
Howard Chuck. There we go. I almost said Halachuk. I would have looked dumb. Howard Chuck, Hull, and there's one more guy. I apologize.
Thomas Steen, I think.
Thomas Steen. Yep.
Yeah.
Thomas Steen. And then you have the Coyotes. They're in the Kachina banners. You have Kachuk. I think they put Bulin in there and Roenick.
Oh, yeah.
Or no, Numanen. It was Numanen. Sorry. Numanen, Roenick, and Kachuk. But they're not officially retired. The only actual banner we have is 19. In the back of my mind, I'm like, when you guys did your ceremonies, first off, nobody was allowed to wear 9 or 10, and then when you had for Kachuk, for Roenick, nobody was wearing 27 or 97 or 7. I'm like, when did those only become a Ring of Honor thing? Because apparently this is the first time they've ever considered it a jersey retirement, which what a first guy to do it.
Well, I mean, Shane, if you're going to do it for anyone, Shane Doan's the guy to do it for.
But it still feels weird because even though that Kachina era didn't have any playoff success, they still rallied the Valley. They still had, a lot of people rallying behind them. And Kachuk, Roenick, even though I don't like him, from what I remember, he was part of one of the ownership groups that tried to move the team. And also, whenever he talks about his time, he always talks about when he was in Chicago. And Teppo, good players. But if you're going to retire, why don't you retire those guys? Because they were integral parts, regardless. And I mean, captains.
Yeah. I mean, with 9 is for like Bobby Hull, which that's a whole other story of why that shouldn't be retired.
Well, yeah, and then like the Jets bought their history back, so why do we still have 9? I think it's 9, 10, and 25 for Steen, Howard Chuck, and Hull.
And then but you did have like that 5 games or something where Brett Hull signed with the Coyotes and wore 9.
Yep, they brought it out of retirement.
Yeah,
that was the lockout gone year. He came back. He played like 9 games. He had, I think, a goal and 2 assists. I can't play at the NHL level anymore. And the Coyotes legend, Brett Hull, retired from the game of hockey.
But you don't remember that at all, do you?
No, I think that was literally the year before I got into it. I remember my dad mentioning that, and because he respected the Jets players, but he was really big on like JR, Kachuk and Numanen. But like I remember that story, and I'm like, really? And I think that really started the retirement home thing that I did a video trying to debunk, because they're like, oh yeah, everyone goes to Arizona and Florida to retire. I'm like, in real life, yes. In hockey terms, not necessarily.
If you're Brett Hull, then it's Mike Gardner. That's all I can think of, really. Ray Whitney was amazing, so that doesn't count. He was
phenomenal. Watching him, Hansel, and Verbata, that if I could have any one line right now in their prime, at least when they played together, that's the line. That was so much fun to watch.
Yeah. We can wrap it up. Is there any one or anything else you want to plug or throw out there?
Josh Doan is a Coyote.
He is.
That's all I got other than my YouTube channel.
One thing I will ask, how do you feel about Connor Timmins now that he's with you?
I'm so excited. I'm so excited. We could use a good a good right shot defenseman. I was watching some highlights and whatnot. Obviously, the surface stats, he isn't going to be like your amazing, offensive defenseman, but he can move the puck, and he's got some size to him. He's a skilled defenseman from the footage I've seen. Like I am excited to see him with Chychrun and then maybe Soderstrom and Capobianco, and then sure Gostisbehere and Lyubushkin, with maybe O'Brien playing with Lyubushkin on and off. Like you can have some meat on your third line and a lot of defensively responsible skill for your top four. That defense is not going to be bad next year. At least it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be bad next year.
Yeah, a lot of people were knocking the trade, but I almost think both teams got what they needed. The Avalanche got a great goalie.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, as much as it sucks to lose Grubauer, they got a very good, great goalie. And you guys got we loved him here, and you guys got Timmins. He'll get to develop and get a better chance in your system.
And also another first-round pick, and we can make a move for right, baby. We can trade up. We have the asset.
Man.
5 seconds for right.
Oh, jeez. I mean, you guys are just waiting, basically. It's like biding time until Matthews comes home.
It's funny. Everyone in this state is waiting for that. I know I saw one guy buy a Matthews Kachina. My buddy Richard even bet me that if he comes back, I have to buy him a Matthews jersey. I'm the only person seemingly convinced he's not going to, unless he's 35 plus and nobody wants to pay him what he wants. So he's like, I'll come home for the nostalgia and the nice payday because Arizona would do it. He's a Valley boy, even though he was born in California, but he's a Valley boy.
Yeah.
I think if he did, though, look, I might not like his off-ice antics. I might not like him being a Scottsdale kid because I'm a West Valley kid, and there's a very, very big cultural difference between the Scottsdale kids and the West Valley kids. But that would be a great story to have a good number one caliber center that we've never really had, and was raised in Arizona and always claims to be from Arizona. A big Shane Doan fan himself, like that. That would be a great story if it ever did happen, and I would be happy for that. Just not too happy with the Scottsdale stuff.
Well, yeah. But yeah, AZSportsGuy. That's your channel. Twitter. Yeah. What are you going to be coming out with? Well, you said you want to do like a jersey one eventually.
Yeah, I have a jersey to buy tomorrow. I'm assuming this doesn't get released until next Thursday because you do your
Thursday. So I have one that should be coming out either tonight or in the wee hours of Friday, depending on how editing goes.
Because I went to the Coyote store, they had 3 left, 1 medium and 2 XXL Fanatics ones. They still had a Connor Garland jersey, and I asked them to hold on to the medium one for me. So I'm buying that. That's the last one, and I'm going to do that big jersey collection update, and then I have 3 jerseys I have to buy because I swapped that out for another jersey bet, which is Capobianco, Josh Stone, and Jacob Chychrun. But that could be in a different one. I've more than tripled my jersey collection since last year's jersey video. So I think it's the time. If I can bring home that Connor Garland tomorrow, we'll wear that and have a little fun. Yeah. No, I mean, that's about as good a place to end as any.